What's up, everyone? Coming at you with 6 NCAA basketball picks for Wednesday, February 21st. Absolutely amazing, getting over 10,000 views on our Tuesday video. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We will be posting daily NCAA basketball videos, so hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our college basketball and NBA videos. These picks are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com, where you can get all of our best picks and predictions on every major sport. Don't forget to comment below with any questions, opinions, or bets on today's college basketball slate. I read and respond to every single comment. Now let's dive into our first game of the day, a SEC showdown between Florida and Alabama. Number 24 Florida comes into this game red hot, winning 7 of the last 8 overall, including wins over Kentucky and Auburn. The Gators have been a little weird lately, beating LSU by 2 points and then winning by 6 at lowly Georgia. Not what you would expect from a team wanting to be considered elite in the SEC. Florida is an elite offensive team that can struggle on defense, as they're a squad that can really fill it up but are not always focused defensively. This team has for sure been better at home than on the road, and were down by 6 playing at Georgia their last time out. That was a halftime deficit of 6 points. That's a little bit concerning when you're going against a bad team. They're not going to be able to afford to get down like that against Alabama, who has won 6 of the last 7 and just took down Texas A&M in a 25-point blowout. The Crimson Tide have a win and a loss against Auburn during this stretch and currently hold a 1-game lead over Tennessee for the top spot in the SEC. Mark Sears is an absolute superstar, averaging over 20 points per game while shooting over 50% from the field, and this team currently averages 90.7 points per game. Averaging over 90 in college is pretty wild. Alabama can crash the boards with the best of them, and their defense is actually a little bit underrated. We're going to take Alabama -8 at home in this one. Florida is a decent team, but their recent success has them a bit overvalued for me. The Crimson Tide are an insane 11-2 against the spread when playing at home, and will be determined to show out against a good team after getting trounced by their last ranked opponent. Next up, we've got Illinois heading to Penn State. Illinois comes into this one fresh off a very solid road win over Maryland and have won 5 of 6 overall. The Fighting Illini have been winning games with insanely good offense and great rebounding behind the monster play of Terrence Shannon Jr. and his 21.4 points per game. Marcus Domask is one of the best point guards in the nation with his 15 points and 3 assists per game and playing solid defense. Illinois' defense doesn't get talked about enough, but giving up only 70 points per game in an elite conference puts you in a great spot to finish atop the Big Ten. Penn State didn't really have big expectations coming into the season, and now on a 3-game skid and sitting just barely out of the cellar in the Big Ten, it's clear the squad is going nowhere fast. Rebounding is a huge problem for this team, and if they can't magically fix that issue, then no good things are suddenly coming around the corner. Defensively, this team is decent, but their scoring can be a concern, and it all comes back to their lack of strength on the boards. Take Illinois -7.5 on the road, where they are a solid 5-2-1 against the spread. I expect the Fighting Illini to dominate the boards in this matchup, and Penn State being at home isn't scaring me off from this pick, as they have not been good even on their home floor this season. Next up, we're looking at St. Bonaventure heading to LaSalle. St. Bonaventure comes into this game fresh off a very close 1-point win over Davidson, but have won 3 of their last 4 overall. This team doesn't look like they're going to be making the NCAA tournament, but they're making a little push as the season starts to wind down. The squad plays very solid defense and are in need of a bounce back performance on that end, as giving up 80 points isn't how this team is winning games. Honestly, the Bonnies should have lost to Davidson, so I'm basically treating this as a bounce back spot for St. Bonaventure. LaSalle comes into this game fresh off a surprising 1-point win over Massachusetts, but have been one of the worst teams in the A-10 all season long. The Explorers are not a team that puts up the kind of points, with their 82 in the win being one of their best offensive games of the season. The squad can't rebound, and their defense is also very suspect. Before the win over Massachusetts, LaSalle had dropped 5 straight and really wasn't even keeping these games close. We're going to take St. Bonaventure -6.5 in this one. The Bonnies are a solid 5-3 against the spread playing on the road, and are by far the better team on both ends of the court, while LaSalle is only 4-9 against the spread playing at home. That's pretty terrible, and they're in a big letdown spot coming off of a very rare win. Next up, we've got Evansville heading to UIC. Evansville comes into this game fresh off a 3rd straight loss, falling at Murray State, against Drake, and at Illinois State. The Purple Aces have not had a great season, going only 6-10 in Missouri Valley Conference play, and don't have a ton to feel good about, except that they've kept themselves out of the very bottom of the conference. This team can play a little defense and have some efficient scores, but not any one big-time offensive talent. UIC continues to flounder along, taking a blowout loss at home against Belmont their last time out. The Flames don't have any dependable offensive production, and their rebounding is a huge issue. This is not a program we expect to be competitive, and they are not proving anyone wrong, as their wins have been few and far between, and they don't show much competitive spirit on a nightly basis. This one, I'm a little bit scared of this line. If you guys have any weird information for me, please let me know down in the comments. But right now, we're taking Evansville plus 2.5 on the road in this one. UIC is a disaster right now and have already lost in this matchup by 17 points only a few weeks ago. The Purple Aces are also a startling 8-5-0 against the spread when playing on the road this season. So this is looking like a great spot where we're getting the better team and they're getting points. Take Evansville plus 2.5. Number 22, Colorado State heads to New Mexico in our next one. Colorado State comes in this game fresh off a great performance at home, blowing out Utah State by 20 points. The Rams got everything they needed in that win, dominating the boards and even getting the benefit of the whistle, getting called for 5 less fouls than their opponent. Colorado State dominated the boards in that win, but have not been an elite rebounding team this season. The squad plays some solid defense, but that defense is a lot better at home than on the road. Isaiah Stevens is a monster with 16 points and 7.5 assists per game, but can he really hold up with that kind of production when playing on the road? New Mexico comes in this game fresh off a very disappointing loss at San Diego State and have been alternating wins and losses for like 3 weeks now. The Lobos have some premium wins this season, including an early season road win over Colorado State. This team has been dominant rebounding the ball, and their offense is ranked 24th in the nation with an average of 83.3 points per game. On the defensive end of the floor, they allow only 71 points per game and have been determined to show out on that end against very good teams. Take New Mexico minus 5.5 at home, where they have been insanely good, going 9-3 against the spread this season. The Lobos have already won in this matchup and are in a premium bounce back spot after a tough loss. Colorado State is in a classic letdown spot and are only 3-5 against the spread on the road this season. In our last game of the night, we're looking at ULV headed to Air Force. UNLV comes in this game fresh off a very tough home loss to Nevada, but for this team, keeping things within 3 points against an elite opponent, not that bad of a look. The Rebels are a pretty solid offensive team, and while they can struggle on the boards against a lot of opponents, especially the ones around the top of the conference, they still have good defense to fall back on. ULV is just not quite ready to compete atop the Mountain West, but with this conference looking so good right now, that really isn't anything to be ashamed of. Air Force has been the clear worst team in the Mountain West, but got their lone conference win at UNLV earlier this season. The Falcons are terrible offensively and on the boards, and just don't have the size or the talent to keep up with really anyone in the conference. This defense is very weak, and this team doesn't have any real standout stars that can be depended on from night to night. We're taking ULV to get the blowout win and cover, playing on the road in a bounce back spot against a team they will for sure be out for revenge against. The Rebels are 5-2 against the spread playing on the road. That's a pretty solid number, and Air Force is one of the worst teams in the nation against the spread, playing on their home court, going only 2-11 against the spread. That's all of our games for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below with any questions or comments about these picks or today's slate, and check out stumpthespread.com to see all of our top plays. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more NCAA basketball action.